Hello everyone, this is day 5 of lockdown and today we are talking on self-care. How do we look after ourselves when we are isolated, shut down at home? Hi Jo, how are you?
I am really well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm great, actually. I've made my children bacon and eggs this morning for breakfast, which was very organised of me because they normally just have to go to the cupboard and scramble for whatever's there. But Saturday morning, they have bacon and eggs on the table and it's help yourself downstairs.
Yum, nice. I've just made a smoothie.
That's great. Much more healthy than bacon and eggs. So you've done your exercise regime this morning, which is all part of self-care.
Yes. And I think self-care, we can talk about it obviously about the whole being in isolation, but I think self-care is just important in general, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely.
Yes, exercise is definitely part of my self-care routine, as is my vegetables. Believe it or not, it looks nice and red, but it has got broccoli in and spinach. So vegetables, I make sure I eat lots of vegetables as much as I can every day, especially leafy green vegetables, and some time out. What's your self-care? What's the most important things to you when it comes to self-care, Sue?
Well, I wrote a list this morning, then I thought, what are my top 3? My top 3, actually, number 1 I put was time out, in the sense of having a quiet hour to either read a book or to just have some time in meditation or prayer, just to be in that space that I really, really need that. And interestingly, that was number 1. And then I thought, should I put friends in that bracket? And I just thought, no, that's corrupting my space, which is me time. So 1 was connecting with myself in that quiet time. 2 was exercise. 3 was sleep for me, actually having enough sleep every day. But then they were my top 3. Friends, laughter, put laughter in there. Laughter is really important to me. How do you build laughter into the day? You know, to laugh, you're actually releasing endorphins, which heal your body. People don't realize that. And you can choose to laugh. You can choose to come out of stress and anxiety. It's a choice, as we used to talk about. Diet, to sleep. And then actually the last thing on my list, not that it was least important, was learning to say no. And this is something I'm going to build into my lockdown regime, is emails. I'm not going to do my emails all day long. I'm going to have a set time to do my emails. I'm not going to do my emails at night when I go to bed, which is invariably what happens. And also on my no list is I'm going to put my phone down. I'm not going to carry it around with me because I don't want to answer every call that comes through, because you can constantly spend your time on your phone. You can be talking to your children, there's a phone call, you can drop everything. So a no list for me was really important for self-care.
No, I agree with every single one of them, to be honest with you. And I think when we think about self-care, sometimes people just think about the physical body, but I think we should think about it in the whole sense. We are not just a physical body. In fact, we're more of a soul, aren't we? So I think body, mind and spirit. I think as long as we self-care on all of that, then we'll be in a much healthier, and as we say, we're all about improving mental health and improving mental fitness. Self-care is key to all of that. So I think find something for you that fills up your cup. And somebody said, one of our guests, I think it was Catherine Malloy, said, I think she said, that elusive search for happiness. However, she doesn't search for happiness. What she does is she searches for joy in each day. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important. And that's like what you said, Sue, about finding some laughter. Like, if I don't laugh every day, it really affects my mental health. So what do? I go out and generally laugh at myself. And that's okay by me. But, you and I, Sue, we talk about the most serious of topics. However, often we snort laughing. We do the most ridiculous things. We're both quite goofy, and I think that's why the universe brought us together, because other people can't cope with us. but again, sorry, carry on.
No, it's interesting because I'm thinking about self-care, and it's hard to actually, unless you have a routine, and we were talking yesterday about rules and routines and boundaries. And I'm thinking about self-care in that there's a sense in which we need to build it into our daily life in a routine, isn't there? You have your set routines of exercise in the morning. I build in running in the morning or swimming in the evening, or trying to do both. Build it into a schedule into your life, and more so now than ever, because we're on lockdown at home. I think it's really important, as we said yesterday again, to change the schedule of how we're doing things. Build in a routine. Am I going to have a fixed hour a day where I have quiet time? Am I going to have a fixed half an hour where I exercise, or am I going to do 2 half-hour exercises? Am I going to have time where I connect with my friends at a set time in the day? And one of the things I said to myself yesterday, I called a girlfriend. I would normally just text her. She's a single mom of 4. She's on her own. And she said, gosh, it's really important actually to speak, isn't it? Rather than just text at this time. And it made me realize I'm actually going to call 2 friends a day, and actually have a conversation with them rather than just text, say, how are you doing? How's it going? Actually have a conversation with them and to connect, because we're not seeing people, to build it in again into my day.
And as a health and fitness expert, I have a lot of people coming to me to ask how they can change their life. Now, I never tell people to cut things out, because I think as soon as we try to cut things out, we want them more than ever. It's our psychology.
It's a mentality, yeah.
So what I just say, it's like what you've just said about creating new schedules, new routines. I always call it just create another healthy habit. So what do you want your healthy habit to be? How do you want it to look? And healthy habits is all around self-care. So do you want to exercise? Do you want to eat some extra vegetables? You know, maybe just, you know, if you're not eating any vegetables, just maybe add 1 in a day for the first week, then add 2 in a day for the second week. You don't have to do it all bang all at once. Just do it gently to yourself, because if you all of a sudden start a whole brand new routine, some people will do that. They will literally change their life overnight. You know, they'll empty the cupboards, they'll buy their sweatbands, they'll download every meditation app, and they'll re-change their life overnight. However, that's overwhelming for most people, and most people can't do that, or don't want to do that, should we say, because we all know change is scary, even if it's good change. People like to be drawn back into our usual, normal, safe net, even though that's not the best place for us necessarily. So just think about creating some healthy habits. How are you going to be your best physical and mental self? What's going to be your recipe? Because my recipe is slightly different from yours, and maybe 1,000,000% different from somebody else's. Do you know what I mean? So it's just whatever works for you. I would never push my recipe onto another person. I only know what works for me. But however, you know, I ask people the right questions. So what's going to bring them joy? And some people don't even know what brings them joy. They have to really think about it. If you have to go and think about it. What's going to make you better physically? Are you getting your 10,000 steps in every day? Are you moving your body? Because we are not made to sit still. Simple as that. That's not what our bodies are. A car is made to move. We are made to move. And to fuel our amazing, beautiful, wonderful, wonderful bodies that get us from A to B, we need wholesome, proper nourishment. So how are you going to do that? It's body, mind, and spirit.
I love the fact that you had in your smoothie, it's raw vegetables, isn't it? Because lots of people think of vegetables in terms of cooking vegetables and having it with their meat or whatever, but actually raw vegetables are so much better. You don't need overwhelming lumps of broccoli and cabbage. As you say, you can juice it, you can cut it up into tiny pieces and mix it into salad and actually get decent amounts of raw vegetables. I also love what you were saying about creating change in people's lives. You don't look at the losses, you don't look at the negatives or what you have to go without, you look at what you're building into. I had a client online yesterday who had a big anger issue and had a big tantrum. He was stuck at home with family and had a rage. And I said, the anger's absolutely fine. Don't even look at the anger, because anger is an expression of what's going on inside you. And the anger is a manifestation of the pain. What is the pain that's going on? And the pain is lack of self-love, it's self-hatred, it's shame because things that have happened to that person, to the teenager. And I said, once you start to love yourself, and again, it's the positive change, love yourself, hold yourself in that pain, whatever's happened to you, and we addressed what the issue was. Hold yourself and love yourself and say to yourself, it was okay to express my anger that way because the pain was coming out. And once you start to address the pain, the anger disappears overnight. Lots of parents come to me and say their child's got an anger issue, and I just say the anger's not the issue. The anger's not important. The anger is the manifestation. It's the expression of what's going on. It's good it's coming out, but let's deal with it. And it's, again, not focusing on the behavior, which is negative. It's addressing the positive, build self-esteem, build the child, build the teenager, focus on the positive. Now, there's listeners here that are going to be stuck at home with teenagers. I've got 4 lots of hormones going on in the house, 4 lots of emotions, hormones, feelings, needs, wants, losses, griefs, because they've left their own lives. All come together. How do we manage it? How do we manage little children all having tantrums because they're hungry, they're tired, they need to be put to bed, babies, they need breastfeeding? How do we manage it? Focus on the positive behavior all the time. If a child's having a tantrum, focus on the positive behavior, and later on, focus on the negative behavior by loving them, holding them in it, talking about their feelings, getting it out. Positive.
Absolutely. And equally though, you can't give to other people
what you don't have yourself.
If you're not looking after yourself. And, you know, obviously it's very different than having a baby to a toddler, to a young child, to a teenager. It's all very different. However, at all of those stages in life, you need to be the best version of you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, you know, there is times when you have to put yourself to one side and just give 100% to other people. But it can't be all the time, because then your cup is getting lower and lower and lower, and your energy reserves are getting lower. You need to find a way to top them up. Now, whether that is if you've got young children, if you literally just, whenever they have a nap, don't go round and clean the house like a nutter like I used to do.
But no one's going to see it anymore anyway.
Who gives a crap? Just hide it on the cupboard. Hide it on the cupboard. Sit down. Have that relaxing cup of tea with your nice candle on, or read a page of the book. Or if you nod off, that's fine, because you might just need that nana nap because you need to reserve, you know, you need your energy reserves lifted. If it's young children, again, when they're having their rest or when they've had their lunch and they might just want some screen time for an hour. Sit down with them, take the weight off your feet and just chill. Whatever is going to work for you, it doesn't matter. Just remember, it is not selfish to do self-care. It's actually one of the most selfless things you can do, because you need to be healthy. If you're not healthy, everything around you falls apart. You can't give the best to your family, to your friends, to your work, to your own passions and hobbies and interests, your own goals and dreams. You need to look after you in here, physically, mentally, all over. And that's what self-care is all about.
And I think as mothers, though, we're naturally very giving, aren't we? We have that nurturing capacity where we give, and we're sort of emotionally connected. We know what's going on at any one time. We want to rescue, we want to heal, we want to make it all okay. But actually, as you say, if we don't take care of ourselves, we've got nothing left to give. We had a major blow up in our family yesterday. Nothing abnormal. I'll put it out there. 4 teenagers. There's conflict going on. But I was actually in a situation yesterday where I was really calm, because I knew I'd had a decent amount of sleep. I knew that I'd taken care of myself. And I just literally went from one person to the other to make sure everything was okay, to calm it down. And then I just walked away. I didn't engage with it. I didn't unravel it. And then I thought, we can talk later about it. But it's about being okay. And I knew, I was really aware that other times I wasn't okay. I wasn't dealing with it very well because I was tired. I was exhausted. I had nothing left to give. And we are the caretakers. And so we have to put ourselves first. We have to make sure we can manage the situations, because if they're triggering us as well, and we're putting that into the mix, it is just like a bomb going off. We can't afford that to happen. We are going to be isolated in lockdown for a long period of time. It's not just a weekend. So we have to think about ourselves. Be selfish, put yourself first. I love that. If you've got a baby, go to sleep, just let everything go. No one's coming in your house at the moment. No one's going to knock on your door, say, hi, I'm around. Do you want to get the babies together? No one's going to do it. No one's going to see the chaos. I know it matters to you, but actually in terms of sleep is more important.
And let me tell you, during lockdown, this is one of the best times that you can actually start concentrating on self-care. It's the time now to reset your life, take advantage of this situation which we're all in, which is not pleasant, and we don't know what's happening out there. You know, more and more people are getting the virus, etc., but we're trying to get it contained. But again, look after yourself, reset, think about what's important to you. This is the time that you can reflect and actually get to know yourself and think, what can I do for me?
The other category that I was really thinking about, Jo, and it's a lot of teenagers, young 20s, that don't have a connection with their mother, with their father that they'd really like, and they've gone into lockdown and they can't have those open conversations. They're feeling really lonely. They want female and male adult role models to mentor them through this period, to talk to them about what they're going through, relationships, sexual changes. And I would say, Jo and I are always here. If you want to connect with us, send us a message. Write to us, pods with Posh and Pool. Sorry, that's wrong. Pods, WPP @gmail.com. Send us a message. Send us a message on Facebook in Messenger. We will connect with you. We are here to support all of you out there. We've got our own families, our own children. We've got a lot going on, but it doesn't mean we're too busy to be there for you. We will connect you with other people to find you support. Don't be alone. Anyone that's listening feeling isolated and anxious, connect with people. Find a support line on a number online, connect with them. An emergency number. Don't think because we're in lockdown you can't get the help you need. Your mental health is so important at this time. You must take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Lecture over. Mama 14's here.
Yeah, no, but we just do want, because we've lived and learnt, so we never used to take care of ourselves, and therefore we wouldn't have handled situations the best we could. We were handling it the best we could at the time with the tools we had, but now we understand the importance of self-care, and it took us a long time. So if people can get onto that a bit quicker than what we did, good for you. Please do, because it's really, really important. It's what we teach our own children, isn't it? And all the children and all the teenagers that we coach and mentor. We explain to them how important self-care is. And once they get it, it's there for life. It's a skill for life. So please have a little think about what's important to you. Get a pen and paper. There is nothing better for mental stimulation than to write things down. Write down what brings you joy. Write down how you want to fuel your body if you need to exercise. What fills you up? What's going to calm your mind and give you some space? Whatever it is for you. If you want to do a new hobby, if you want to learn something new, if you want to make new friends, I don't know what it is, if you want to find a new partner, whatever it is, but you've got to look after you first. So go and have a little think.
Part of looking after you is also loving yourself, isn't it, Jo? You are a big self-love coach, advocate, and we speak about finding love. And again, many of you in situations where you are surrounded by people who you feel don't love you. You don't feel as though, they might say it, but you actually feel they don't love me. You might say, I've never had anybody really love me in my life. My parents haven't loved me. I haven't got friends that love me. I'm lonely. I don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend or partner. Then find that self-love within you, because I was at a broken place in my life, and so was Jo, where we felt exactly the same as that. And we had to find self-love from within. And when you find that and you start speaking that over your life, I love myself. You look in the mirror and you say, I'm ugly, I've got hair that I don't like my eyebrows, my nose, but actually I love myself. I love my nose, I love my hair, I love my eyebrows, I love myself, and I'm going to find the abilities I have within to shine. And I'm going to do it every single day in the absence of love around me. Every single day I'm going to speak over my life that I love myself. I love the fact that I'm in pain, I'm vulnerable, and therefore I'm going to grow. Find the things you don't like about yourself and change it around, turn it around. Your vulnerability is the place you're going to grow. If you toughen up and you harden up and you hide everything in anger, you're just going to break at some stage. So why don't you break now rather than break in 5 years' time, and then you've got 5 years to grow? That's my philosophy on life. Don't waste time.
Totally. And self-love is, I'd say it would be, if everybody could find self-love, we would be living in a way more peaceful world. And there would be less anxiety, less depression, less stress, less conflict, better relationships, better communication. Self-love is the foundation for everything, I would say. I'm the biggest advocate for self-love, but I think we will do another session on self-love alone, because it's so big, it's so bold, it's so important, and it's so deep. I think we'll do a separate one, but yeah, definitely try and find self-love.
Definitely do a separate one. There's so much in it, Jo, because as you're saying that, you're saying that everything changes if you can find self-love. I used to come from a place, well, he's hurt me and she's done this, and so if only he would change, and if only she would see what she's done. And then it's interesting, isn't it, because then I did all my work to find respect for myself and honor for myself and actually liking myself, and then learning to love myself. And then it was really weird, because then I'd look at other people and think, I actually don't care about their faults and flaws. I don't care about the fact that he thinks he's this or she's that. I didn't care. And then the next stage was these people I really was bitter and twisted about. I kind of found this sort of sense of love towards them, because I could see their pain and their hurt. And so everything that they were projecting onto me, I was absorbing previously. Whereas now, because I loved myself, I wasn't absorbing any of it from them, but I could just see them in their pain and their hurt. And I found this tremendous love for them. And I thought, gosh, that's so interesting. Now I can understand what you say. It is the beginning of change in the world. That's when the world will change, when we find self-love and come out of the race. And I'm actually so grateful. I still do think that there's nasty people around. But I have to change that concept. That's my work I've got to do, because they're not nasty. They're just carrying pain. And when I get triggered by somebody and think, why did they behave like that towards me? I have to put it back on them and say, it's not, I don't own it. That's not mine. They're in pain. I'll just bless them and send them away and send them love and light. So as you say, it's another session. Self-care, coming back to self-care. What are your top 3, Jo? I think exercise, number 1 for you. Diet, number 2. 3, your best friend, business partner, Sue, on Pods with Posh and Paul.
Absolutely. Well, I didn't need to answer, did I? Because you just got it nailed down past. Well,
No. Wrong. You were meant to say, Sue, the priority is wrong, because actually you and our Pods with Posh and Paul is number 1. You got it wrong. And that was a test and you failed it.
Sorry. Well, it's a lesson. It's never a failure, is it, Sue? Let's face it. It's a lesson. No, top 3. I'm not too sure I can put them in top 3, but definitely exercise. Not if it's not daily, it has to be at least every other day, but I would generally do it daily. And within exercise, I often get time alone in that time, because I often do it. A bit of both. It's a bit of mental time to be on my own and exercise, which
that's really good. That's a really good tip actually for listeners. You can actually get 2 in 1 there. If you do exercise on your own, you can get meditation time, thinking time. I like that.
Yeah, so that's really, really vital for me. Healthy eating in a way where I do it 80% of the time. You know, I fuel my body really well, but if I want to eat chocolate and if I want to drink wine, I'm happy to do that as well. It's having a really good balance for me. Sometimes the balance is off and I bring it back in place, but in general, I don't feel good if I don't eat healthy. If I don't eat wholesome stuff, it makes me feel sluggish, and it actually makes me makes my mood dip as well. So I'm really conscious of that. So that's really important to me. And when spending time with people I love, like yourself, Sue, and my kids, and, you know, my family and my partner and all of that, being around people that really fill me with joy, and laughter I can incorporate into all of that really. So that's really important to me. And there's a few other things, you know, I meditate most days. I try to learn every single day. I take the lessons. And I think one of the biggest things for me is doing what I love. So you and I working together, it just fills me with joy every day, and it doesn't feel like work. So every day I am blessed and I am grateful. So.
Do you know what? I'm overwhelmed listening to you. I think I'm imagining myself with a newborn baby and 3 toddlers in the house, just thinking, I can't even listen to those 2 girls because they seem to have these perfect lives. But let's just rewind a bit, because when you've got young babies, they need you all the time. You're breastfeeding, you're changing them, you're carrying them, you're bathing them, you're doing absolutely everything for them. They're screaming, they're having tantrums, they're driving you insane. And you and I had a lot of children at a very young age. Mine were 4 under the age of 5, and I was on my own as a single parent. And I lived in chaos. There was chaos everywhere. There were clothes everywhere. There was food everywhere. I remember just getting under the table and just chaos. And I remember thinking, wow. And this lady came up to me in the street once and she said, if you think this is hard, the teenage years are much harder. And I actually felt I wanted to die, because I couldn't cope as it was. I remember thinking, how can it get worse? Now in teenage years, it's different. It's not harder. And I would say to people, if you've got young toddlers at home, this is the hardest stage. Jo and I have got 8 between us, but they're in their bedrooms doing their own thing. They're chatting to friends online. They don't need feeding. They can help themselves to what's in the fridge. They can go out when they want if you're not on lockdown, but they can still go for walks and exercise. You are in the hardest stage. You are doing it without sleep. You are doing it often without feeding yourself because you haven't got time. You're feeding your children. You're clearing up. You're looking after your husband or your partner, or they're looking after you, vice versa, because men and women work as hard as each other. No gender difference there at all. But this is the hardest time. Don't let anyone say to you, it gets harder. What you are doing is absolutely extraordinary. You're doing something amazing, looking after so many people. And in terms of self-care, we get it. If you say, I have got nothing left to give for me, we get it. I remember boobs hanging out, washing. I mean, just chaos. It was awful. And it is so hard, but the time will come. You don't stay in stages forever.
I used to honour myself when I was, because I had 3 under 4 as well, and then I left a couple of years before I had my 4th child. So I had 3 under 4, and I had 2 boys. They were my 2 oldest, so they were like mental. They were just on the go all the time. It's like having 2 puppies who needed to be exercised.
Yeah.
So it was full on. The way I did self-care back then, I didn't really realise at the time, but I would honour myself. So I'd see mothers that, you know, had perhaps weren't dressed very nice or whatever, they'd just thrown on anything, but that didn't make them feel good. They actually felt quite wretched by how they were looking. And I don't mean it on a visual thing, it just didn't make them feel good as people. So when my children were very, very young, I would make sure I brushed my teeth and washed my face. You know, even if I was holding one, holding another, I made sure I did that while we were all doing it together. And I might just put on a tiny bit of mascara because it was the one thing, you know, you're tired, but just made me feel a little bit pinky because I liked my eyes. Mm-hmm. So I thought, I'm going to emphasize my eyes, and I'm always going to wear a nice coloured top. I know it sounds really silly, but it just made me feel better wearing something that I knew suited me. And you chuck on your trackies or your jeans or whatever, but if I always had like a nice t-shirt, maybe with baby puke down and some snot, who cares? But I always just made sure I'd washed my face and brushed my teeth. And that was my self-care at the time when I had 3 under 4. It was tough going. And then I always made sure they were in a routine and put them to bed early as well. But I was lucky I managed to get that with my children. I do know some children are really colicky and they can't, so whatever. But it was the smallest thing that I could do for myself in the morning was put on a slick of mascara.
Well, isn't that interesting then, Jo, that for self-care, routine then is really important, isn't it? If you just every morning did your teeth, put some mascara on, washed your face, that's routine. And to young mums, therefore, build a routine in. One thing that saved me, I had to say, was that lots of my friends were putting their children down late at night. I put mine down at 6:30. The bath routine started at 5. It was, you know, tea at 4, bath at 5, and then I made sure they were down by 6:30 so that if they were crying or needed something extra, it was lights out, done, dusted by 7, because then I had my evenings. And I just think you can then get that evening time, go to bed early so you can have sleep, do something nice for yourself in the evening, read a book. To new mums, first-time mums, we have got a podcast which is really great on postnatal depression. If you think you're suffering postnatal depression, then click onto it. It's a wonderful one. It came released quite early, wasn't it, Jo? When did we release postnatal depression?
One of our very first ones. So it would have been like around September last year, I think.
But have a look on our have a look on our Facebook page. But also, if you go on to any podcast site, it's got all their podcasts there. There's a really, really good one on postnatal depression. This is the hardest time. Isolation is the thing that affects new mums more than anything. They've given up work. They're less surrounded by family and friends, and you're isolated at home breastfeeding a baby. If you think you're suffering from postnatal depression, connect with a support group online for postnatal depression. You are more isolated now than you would have been if you could have even gone for a walk in the park with your baby. Maybe you're worried about taking the pram outside in case you're going to catch the virus. You're vulnerable, you're breastfeeding. Please connect online with a support group for postnatal depression. There are groups there. There are lots of people in your situation. You are not alone. And there are many other people you can connect with, a grandma figure or an elderly person who's got time. Connect with them and just say, can I speak to you online daily just so that I can connect? A grandmother, anybody, just connect with somebody.
And to be fair, that's with any kind of illness or any kind of trouble or strife or loneliness that you're going through, just reach out. But on that note, we will love you and leave you, and please have a think about what's going to fill your cup up, what's going to make you feel the best, body, mind and spirit. And if you need any tips, write to us and we can help you along the way. And if not, good luck on your journey.
And also tomorrow, Monday, we will be speaking on to empower you, how to empower yourself, to come out of disempowerment into empowerment. It's a choice to be a victim or to actually go on a journey where you're going to empower yourself and learn and grow. So Monday, connect with us, empowerment. Have a great day, have a good weekend, and we'll connect with you soon. Bye.